There is something that as a man you want more than sex. And today I'm going to walk you through a quick thought experiment that will let you discover what this thing is. And I believe that the answer might shock you, but even better, it might totally transform your life. Hi, my name is Queppet, and for more than a decade now, I've coached thousands of guys on how to eliminate power leaks like porn and other forms of escapism so that they can unleash their apex potential in life. And I'm very excited for you to do this thought experiment. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. All right. So step one of this thought experiment is I want you to imagine your ideal woman. All right. And I'm talking about your ideal, not society's ideal. I'm talking about the woman that you dream of, the woman of your dreams. OK, think about her in terms of, her character, her values, her vibe, appearance, sense of humor, whatever. OK, all the things. Right. Basically, this woman, she's the cream of the crop, the most incredible woman that you could ever possibly meet. Okay, and let's keep this classy. All right, I'm not trying to, you don't want to be turning this into a harem or some kind of sexual fantasy or something weird like that. Okay, just, just the woman that would she would capture your heart. Okay, and yeah, obviously she's going to be incredibly attractive too, but let's keep it more heart focused. Okay. Now the next step of this thought experiment is that I'm going to present you two options, and you need to choose one of these options. Okay, and you got to choose one. Option number one is that you have the ability to have totally consensual sex with this ideal woman on demand, but she's not even slightly attracted to you or enthusiastic about the sex at all. Okay, basically, for her, having sex with you is like paying the bills or doing the dishes or I guess getting like a gynecological exam. It's consensual. Okay, you're not raping her, but she doesn't really like it or care for it, or you for that matter. Okay, and that's option one. You can have sex with her as much as you want, this ideal, perfect woman, on demand. Okay, option one. Now, option two is that you gain the ability to fully unleash your masculine potential in life. Okay, this means you get to become the man that you've always dreamed you could be. You can you finally answer that calling that kind of burns inside of your gut to just live completely full of passion, chase your highest goals, live on a mission, completely unapologetic, bold, fiery life. You get that. Okay. And while you're living this way, you actually end up capturing the heart of this ideal woman. She becomes insanely attracted to you to the point that she actually wants to ravish you. Now, the catch on this side is that you're never allowed to sleep with her. Okay? That's the catch. So the catch on the first side is that you can have as much sex with her as you want, but she doesn't care about you, at all. Okay? On the other side, you get to become the guy that she is the most attracted to possible, but you can't sleep with her. And so you got to pick one of these options. Which would you rather have? Would you rather be, have a sex doll, basically, or would you rather live a superhero life where you've captured the perfect woman's heart but cannot have her body? Now, I think most guys, they would actually choose the second one. Particularly any of the guys that I would like to personally associate with, that's what they would choose. And that's interesting because most guys, you would think what do guys want more than anything? They want sex, right? But that's not true. I don't believe that's true. I believe what men really want is to be the guy that his ideal woman wants to have sex with. That's the deeper calling, the deeper yearning, the deeper longing inside of men's hearts. And the incredible thing about this, if you agree with me, is that this is always available to you. At any given moment, you could ask yourself, what kind of man would my ideal woman be attracted to here? And then you can choose to show up as that guy, right? It's you could always gain access to this conceptualization of your ideal woman and just think well, what kind of guy would she be interested in here? What would make her happy, right? Now, to be clear, this isn't about just simping for some imaginary goddess, okay? The way that I see it is actually it's about connecting to your muse. It's about learning how to connect to your feminine side, but in a fully masculine way. A lot of guys think that, there's this balance that must be achieved internally where you gotta connect to these feminine aspects inside of yourself and become more feminine in order to be balanced. I just think that neuters you. Really, what I think you're supposed to do, is you're supposed to inflame your masculinity to its fullest. And the only way you can actually do that, though, is through a polarization of your masculinity. Think about it this way: a guy without women in his life, okay, it's a relatively unimpressive person. I think guys without women are unusual creatures. He's going to have a, mattress on the floor, maybe a couple of weights and a TV in the living room and one chair. Okay. And he's just going to have ground beef in the refrigerator. And that's pretty much it, right? Guys will become kind of like functional cavemen without women. I think, that's a bit of a gross exaggeration, but I think that the feminine, it pulls out the best in the masculine. Okay, there needs to be that polarity. And so how as a man can you do that? Well, obviously you could be, try to attract an actual woman. But I think on the deepest level, what you really want to be doing is learning how to live in a way that your ideal woman would be attracted to, right? That's the key. It's that's how you connect to your feminine side. You think about your ideal woman. Who would she like the best in this situation? And what that shows you is who your ideal masculine actually looks like. Because if you try and find your ideal man without the conception of the ideal feminine, it tends to turn selfish and it tends to be a little bit more limited, and it doesn't seem to be as full-bodied, I would say, So what would it look like for you if you were living in a way where your ideal woman was watching you? Right? This is a thing that all guys are aware of. When a pretty woman is watching you, puff up your chest a little bit more. You push a little harder in the gym, right? It draws out that extra, intensity within you, because that's just the way men are. And so you shouldn't be a slave to that. You should learn how to master that. And that is the key, is realizing that is ultimately what you want. You want to be your most attractive self. Because when you can unlock your internal muse, okay, and you can start making love to life, you will live your most fulfilled existence. And yeah, guess what? You're never going to be able to sleep with your muse, okay? That doesn't actually work. The muse is not a physical person. But, chances are, if you are attractive to your muse, okay, this conceptualization of the ideal feminine, you're probably going to be able to be plenty attractive to real women. So what happens if when you start connecting to your muse, you start imagining this and you get a lot of different ideas, right? Of what the heck you should change, but you're not really sure about where you should start. Well, what I would recommend for you is to click the link in the description and take the Frontline Man quiz. Because in this quiz, after just a few moments, you will get personalized results that will show you where your big bottleneck is. The thing that's, kinking the hose of your masculine power. So that's pretty much what I have for you guys today. Hopefully you found this interesting. And if you liked this thought experiment, please share it with someone. Share it with a friend that you think might also enjoy it. I'm trying to grow the channel here, and one of the things that's difficult is trying to get the algorithm to work on my side. So leaving a comment, a like, subscribing, sending this to a friend, all that helps out the channel a ton. Thanks for watching. Ooh, yeah. See you all in the next one.